Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Planet Kiss, and welcome to our Dynasty and Unmasked Rock and Roll Party. So, May is quite the busy month for studio album history. We celebrated the anniversary of Revenge, which is definitely one of my favorite non-makeup Kiss albums, and for sure in my top 10, probably even top 5. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're going back even further to the good old days to talk about the pivot into a new era for the band. A bigger, more glamorous, more Disney pop, as they say, era. You know what it is. We're talking about Dynasty and Unmasked. I love these albums and this era so much. And if you watch a lot of my videos, then you know that Unmasked is my favorite Kiss album, but the fandom actually did start at Dynasty. I shouldn't say it started at Dynasty. That wasn't like my first Kiss album or anything, but Dynasty was just kind of the end of the road for me, no pun intended. When I was listening to the band as a kid, that's just kind of as far as I went. When I was super young, I really only listened to all the 70s stuff, you know, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, even the first one, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, and of course Psycho Circus, because that came out around the time that, you know, I was becoming a person. But yeah, that's what I was raised on, so all the other eras of Kiss at that time were kind of off the table for me. So I just remember knowing that that was the album with the four faces that are staring right at you on it. And I also knew that the music was different for the band. It was and still is just cool to hear them do something new. And above all that, I think I just loved how catchy the songs were. I still do. Honestly, I feel like the only song I really don't like is Dirty Livin'. But other than that, I think I can pretty safely say there's no skips besides, you know, I Was Made for Loving You, because we've all heard that 7,000 times. Then in like late elementary school, kind of early middle school, that's when YouTube started becoming a big thing, and I had any era of Kiss I wanted at my little fingertips. So naturally, that's where I began on YouTube, and funny enough, where I've ended up after all these years. But once I started surfing YouTube as a child, obviously that's where I started, just looking up Kiss stuff, and that's when I found the performances of She's So European and Talk to Me on that German TV show, and something about that just felt like unlocking a new level of Kiss for me. These songs were really different, and I think I didn't really realize it as a kid, but I think now it's just because most of the album was recorded in standard tuning, as opposed to the half step down thing they usually do, and have only done up until this point. Even besides that, I just think all the songs are great, all the songs are super catchy. I feel like this album's pretty unapologetically pop, as to where Dynasty was kind of them, like, dipping their toes into trying something different, and this one is kind of just them jumping straight into the deep end. But I don't care, dude. It's still so fun to rock out and sing along to, and while it isn't quite that energetic, driving cock rock that we're all used to, I just think the music is a little more sophisticated in terms of songwriting, and say what you want about the genre, but I still think this thing has some hard rocking moments. Alright, now that my gushing is out of the way, let's get to the real point of this video. With the anniversaries of both these albums being this month, and even just being days apart from each other, I thought it would be fun to do kind of a double top 5, top 10 thing. In no particular order, I'm going to list my 5 favorite songs from Dynasty, my 5 favorite songs from Unmasked, and then we're going to combine them together into a super album. We're going to name this right here, right now, The Mega Return of Kiss. Sound good? All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to start in chronological order, of course, with Dynasty, number 5. Charisma. This is one of Gene's 2 songs on the record, which is kind of a weird shift at the time, with now Ace stepping in on vocals too. Ace has 3 songs on the record. This is one of the songs from the record that just always stuck out as feeling like classic Dynasty to me. It's somehow poppy and heavy at the same time, with the way they sing that, you know, super sing-songy poppy chorus over that stomping, like dum-dum-ch, dum-dum-dum-ch, dum-dum-dum-ch, bow-bow, which is kind of the whole sound of Dynasty, in my opinion. It's blending that heavy rock style they're used to with those pop sensibilities that were super popular at the time. And then people just hear I Was Made for Loving You and dismiss it as a disco record. Lyrically, Charisma is just more of Gene being Gene, just asking the listener or the female in question what gets her so hot about him. But you still can't deny that that chorus is catchy as fuck, and personally, I think Kiss did kind of indirectly coin the term Riz that the kids like to say these days. We'll just say Kiss started it. Alright, number 4, Magic Touch. This song almost reminds me of like a part 2 or like a sister song to Charisma. Maybe just because they're right next to each other on the album, I'm not sure. But this is just Paul's version of whatever kind of flavor of music that is to me. And let's be real, musically, I'm a little bit more of a Paul guy than a Gene guy. We also get a lot of, as the record spinner likes to call it, falsetto on this song. Alright, number 3, let's just throw this one smack dab in the middle. I Was Made for Loving You. This one has to be included in my top 5. As many times as we've all heard it, it's still a banger. The song has, what, like 1 billion streams on Spotify now? Same with the music video on YouTube. Say what you want about Kiss changing genres, but as many times as we've all had to hear it, it's still a super important song to the record and to their discography. Number 2. Hard Times. This is probably my preferred Ace song on the record. 2000 Man is a cover, so as much as I love that song, I'm not going to include it on this list. Save Your Love is great, but Hard Times just kind of feels like it has more of that Ace spunk and attitude, musically and lyrically. Honestly, with some of those lyrics, it's kind of surprising that somebody like Gene, especially at that time, if you watched my Tom Snyder video, Gene trying to parent everybody, that he would let some of Ace's lyrics on that song slide, but we still got a great banger of an Ace song out of it. And number 1, we'd once again be remiss if we did not include this song on the list, Sure Know Something. I feel like that bass line alone is just so important to this record, and the way it just explodes into that catchy chorus is just so epic. I also love the way Paul sneaks a little bit of Tonight You Belong to Me in there and that little riff. So that's fun if you've ever noticed that. And yeah, this song just makes me think Dynasty maybe even more than I Was Made for Loving You, honestly. The song rules. The bridge is great too. Well, I got a bit of a rasp right now, but you get my point. So yeah, those are my top 5 songs from Dynasty. Again, in no particular order. And now we're gonna move on to Unmasked. All right, number 1. First song, Is That You? Just such an iconic album opener in my opinion. The song literally starts with ow! And I know they wrote this song with somebody else, or this was somebody else's song first, but I think this is one of those situations like King of the Nighttime World where it just kind of became a Kiss song. So with that, I don't know who wrote the lyrics, but they seem like complete nonsense, but I just love that stomping groove of it, and I think that there could have been no better song to open this album. Again, yes, this is a pop album, but the instrumental of this song still rocks, and it's a prime example of how this album can still rock if you look at it a certain way. Number 2. Talk to Me. Similar to Dynasty, this is one of Ace's 3 contributions on this record, and in my opinion, it's just his most kind of straightforward song on the record. Plus, it's the only song on here that has a real Ace guitar solo on it. I profess my love for this song in my top 5 Ace songs video, so I won't go too deep into it here, but it's on this list. All right, number 3. Naked City. This is a classic example of a song that you can show somebody if they try to tell you that this album is a pop album. Because this song's dark and heavy as fuck, honestly. Of course, we got those little poppy background vocals in the chorus. Naked City. But this is Unmasked. You gotta have that on this record. But from that first dum 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 all the way to Ace's last guitar solo, this thing just rocks so hard. This is also one of Gene's more sophisticated songs lyrically, which is cool to see him branch out besides what we're used to. You know, prime example, Charisma from earlier. Number 4, She's So European. It makes sense that I have this and Talk to Me on here because of the German TV performances that I was talking about earlier. Those were just so important to me, especially at that time as a kid. But anyway, yes, this is just another rockin' riff sneaking its way onto a pop record. Tell me you don't get goosebumps when this song kicks off. Other than that, I know it's a pretty straightforward poppy Gene song, but I mean, I just love that opening riff, and I love how it's kind of off time towards the end too. Plus, we also have some more fantastic drumming from Anton Fig on this one. This one's just all around essential to this album. Number 5, What Makes the World Go Round. Just in terms of songwriting, I love how it starts major in the verses and then flips over to minor in the choruses. It's just another example of how either the members of the band or whoever they were writing with at the time were able to just flawlessly change keys and do kind of those interesting things in songs, kind of manipulate them in a way where they could change key and still sound good. Plus, I also think this is probably Paul's coolest solo on the record, if that is actually Paul playing it as history remembers it. And even the bridge before the solo is epic too. I feel like Paul just nailed it on this record, which, you know, this album is kind of more tailored to Paul's kind of sound, Paul's kind of whole thing. But yeah, with this song, I just think it's Paul's most thought out song on this record. I love Unmasked so much, dude. I love Dynasty too, but I do just gotta say, I love Unmasked so much. Favorite Kiss record for sure. Dynasty could be in my top 5. It could be in my top 5. I don't know. I'm just so much more attached to Unmasked for some reason. So, there you have it. That is my top 5 from Dynasty and Unmasked. And now, let's get to the fun part. We're going to combine this into a super album, the Mega Return of Kiss. I'm going to flip over to my computer now, and we're going to do this together. And then I'm going to have this playlist available on my YouTube page for you to check out and listen to as if it were one album. All right, let's do it. All right, hey. Different day, but here we are at the computer. We are going to arrange now the Mega Return of Kiss album that we have created with my top 5 songs from Dynasty and from Unmasked. So, as you can see on the screen here, I just made a YouTube playlist because, you know, everybody loves YouTube. Who doesn't love YouTube? All right, so I got Unmasked songs in here first, and then we have the Dynasty songs. So, how do I want to do this? Well, I think I want to start this off with Is That You? Over I Was Made for Loving You, if I'm being honest, because I just think it's more of a banging album opener, and I Was Made for Loving You is a hit too, so I feel like maybe we shouldn't, I don't know. It was fine for that album, but for this, let's not put it right away. Track number 3 is like usually the hit, I think. That's kind of how it was back in the day at least, or, you know, maybe even still nowadays, depending on how people look at it, but yeah, so let's go ahead and throw I Was Made for Loving You at number 3 right now. We're going to consider that the star of our album, because it still is. I mean, it's the star of this whole era, obviously. I feel like we probably need another Dynasty song now, though, so I still don't want to put I Was Made second. You know what? Let's maybe keep... I honestly kind of like an Ace song being second, because that's kind of how it was on Dynasty, but for the sake of this, let's keep an Ace song second, and then... but not Hard Times. I don't want Hard Times that early in this record. And here's the other important question. What should this album end with? That is really another important one here. Man, this is hard, dude. This is kind of hard to like arrange a custom album like this, but it's what the fun of this whole video is. So I don't want to also like put all these songs in the same spots that they are on their respective albums. You know what I mean? I do want to like jumble it up a little bit if I can. So Is That You? Talk to Me. I Was Made for Loving You. Let's hit Charisma because it's a Gene song and we need one we definitely need one this early. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Maybe. No, we need the Ace songs more spread out. So let's throw Hard Times. Still, again, I'm kind of doing the thing, but let's throw it down here. You know, Sure Know Something honestly might be kind of a cool album ender for the sake of this little experiment. Let's throw it last for now. That could be fun. I just feel like that chorus, just the way it explodes, it could be a great final moment for this. I'm going to go ahead and put Magic Touch after Charisma up here because I think they're like, you know, like I said, they're kind of sister songs, I think. Yeah, so I still think they kind of belong together if we can make that happen. And then after that, I kind of want to make What Makes the World Go Round second to last because that also kind of seems like a very like kind of epic moment, and I don't think it's like epic enough to be last, but I do it for some reason in my head. It kind of has second to last energy, so let's throw that down there. I'm also trying to think in terms of members too, just like who sings what. Paul, Ace, Paul, Gene, Paul, Gene again, Ace, Gene, Paul. I mean, that's like not bad in terms of giving everybody their moment in a fair way. That's not bad. I think that's like a pretty good set list, honestly. I don't know. Is That You? Talk to Me. I Was Made for Loving You. The big hit. Charisma and Magic Touch. I feel like those need to be together. Then we got Naked City, Hard Times, She's So European, from Gene to Ace, back to Gene. That's kind of Ace's two big moments on this. I feel like those are his best songs, as I've said. So got that. And then we got, you know, Gene, She's So European. I feel like that's kind of a good, still kind of belongs towards the end of an album. And then, yeah, What Makes the World Go Round, Sure Know Something. I think that's a pretty strong finish, if I'm being honest. At least, like, in terms of Paul songs from this era, that just sound kind of, like, epic and thought out, like I said. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty strong finish for this. Now here's the fun part is I'm going to listen to this here, and you can listen to this at home because I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. So you can check this out, listen to it for yourself. Thank you guys for watching this. This was a really fun video to make. Let me know also if I should make more videos like this because I'm sure there's some more album anniversaries coming up that are close together that we can kind of make another super album with. Yeah, let me know below what you thought of this. Thank you guys again for watching. Means the world. Hit the links in my description to listen to my background music or buy a sticker. You can also shop my eBay for some things that I'm trying to part ways with in my Kiss collection here. And you can also follow the Planet Kiss Instagram for more Kiss fun. So once again, I love you guys. I will see you guys next week. For Ace Frehley, Eric Carr, and Mark St. John, I'm Planet Kiss, signing off.